Welcome
Welcome.
one, welcome all to the podcast event of the year.
I don't think you can hype
Which
up
episode number is
August.
that? Is this 50? This isn't 50.
No, it's not 50.
I
This
was
is
going to say would have
40,
to stop recording.
48. This is episode 48.
48. Oh my God, my hands are quivering, Duncan. I'm so
Ew.
excited for episode 50.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm Frank, and I have a bad plan for episode 50.
Edit it out. That's all. That's all you needed to do. We have to start over.
Duncan, August was a spectacular month.
We
Actually,
watched a
August
lot
was
of
a
movies.
stressful month for me. This was the month I decided to move across the country. So I only watched 7 things this month.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
It's kind of lame. I think you should apologize or something.
I would like to apologize to the people of what do we call our what do you this is about to sound so cringy. What do we call the people that listen to our podcast?
Uh the 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 movie lights, the children,
The children,
the kids.
the kids.
What do the kids think? I don't know.
Um,
I watched 11 things.
holy cannolas.
I don't have a lot to say about a ton of them, so I'll burn through them.
Well, heck yeah. Well, Duncan, I think you should take us away.
I can do that. So I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. We have
I've
already
seen
spoken about this, so
Yeah.
same thing. I enjoyed it a lot.
I just rewatched this like three. I actually. There was a Black Friday sale, so I picked it up and I watched it the other night.
Wow, you can add it to your collection of DVDs.
Blu-rays, Duncan. DVDs are for peasants.
Wow. Really great movie. Recommend it. I also watched The Sea Beast, which is
what is the Sea Beast?
It is a kids movie on Netflix.
Oh my gosh! Did you watch this with kids, or do you
No.
have explaining to do?
I wanted to see this movie when it came out because it looked interesting based on the title. It said rated 3 and up, and I was like, that includes me.
That does include you.
It's
You made the cut.
the film is actually about governments lying to people.
Oh my gosh, I know what movie you're talking about. I actually heard this was really good and I wanted to watch it.
That's what I wanted you to say when I mentioned the movie. Not
Okay,
you
yeah,
watched
I
a
did hear
kids
about
movie,
this.
Duncan.
Well, because you watch these things on Netflix that nobody else
That's
does.
different.
I Oh my gosh.
The Sea Beast. Very good. It's about sea monsters and this kingdom that tells its pirates, like, go out there and kill all the sea monsters. And so they do. Turns out, okay, no spoilers. This movie is How to Train Your Dragon, but underwater.
Okay.
That's it. Pretty good, though. If you have to babysit and you don't want to watch Mulan for the 10th time, put on
What do
this.
you have against Mulan? This is like the third time I've heard Mulan slander coming out of you.
I don't slander Mulan. I like that.
I
like
when I
Mulan.
think, oh, who wouldn't
I
want to
meant
watch?
the Disney Plus version.
No, you didn't.
You know I did.
No, you didn't.
What did you watch, Frank?
Well, I'm just gonna get this one right off the list because we've talked about it on this. We've talked about this a few episodes ago.
All right.
And this was the first movie I watched in this apartment. I
Aw.
watched. I bought some Panda Express. I sat on my floor and I sobbed while watching this, regretting my life. No. I watched the movie Upgrade.
That's right.
We
Yeah,
talked about this.
we did. Robot Venom.
It's Venom.
Venom with robots.
Minus no Eminem song at the end. So
can you even compare it? Yeah.
This is actually a lot better than Venom. Have you seen Venom?
No, I haven't.
He eats a lobster. Alrighty, that's Duncan. What did you watch?
I watched season 1 of Only Murders in the Building.
This is on my list.
It's with Selena Gomez and Martin Short and Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
The premise is there's this building that's full of quirky, eccentric, the New York people, and it's like they all live together, and then there's a murder.
Do they
and
hold
then
hands?
sometimes.
Okay.
But it's about a podcast. I'm going to skip to it. I thought this show was not going to be what it is, and I was a little disappointed.
Oh,
I thought this show would be about the neighbors, almost like a parody of like a Neighborhood Watch, but like in a
yeah.
New York apartment building.
Okay.
And instead, it's about a podcast. It's about these three people making a crime podcast. And like, oh, we need to get funding for the next episode. And I'm like,
Who needs funding for a podcast? Just talk.
somebody just got murdered.
If you got the microphones, you're all set.
Yeah. But then it's like, oh, Steve Martin doesn't know how to press record. I was going to watch season 2 and 3, but I gave it a little bit of thought and I was like, if it's just going to be more of this, then I'm not actually super interested.
Mhm.
So,
well, that's upsetting to hear. I'm still gonna check it out.
I do recommend you try it out.
That's all I gotta say. Alrighty, I see. I would have saved this one for the end because this was one of the best things I watched during this month.
Okay.
If you haven't watched it, and I've talked about it on the podcast before,
Mhm.
and you need to watch it. I sacrificed a lot to watch this. I almost threw up on Twizzlers, and that is the final season of Better Call Saul. If you don't know the Twizzlers story, go back to you're gonna have to dig because I'm not telling it again, but it's
I will. Frank ate Twizzlers until he threw up red because he wanted to get the free codes of the new season of Better Call Saul.
And it worked. This season, oh my God.
I'll get to it. When it's out, I'll watch it.
It is the best. It is out, Duncan. That's the issue. But you're just not committed.
Not on Netflix, which is what I have.
Just buy it. It's $25.
I don't have that kind of money.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of Netflix, I watched Army of Thieves.
I wasn't done yet, Duncan.
Yes, you were. We've talked about this.
But it's so good. This season of Better Call Saul feels like 3 seasons of television put into one. Okay, you have the first set of episodes, which we'll call the heist arc. Okay, I'm not going to spoil anything, Duncan. Then there's only 2 episodes that I'd consider like a full, like they cram a full season's worth of story into like these 2-3 episodes, and it is incredible. My heart pounding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Kim Wexler is the greatest character to ever graze the television screen.
Agreed.
Duncan, you don't even know. You don't even know.
I do, based on what I've seen.
And then you have like the last couple episodes, which is just to tie everything up. And it's I mean, spoiler alert, but everyone knows what's happening. You have the Gene arc. No, you're good. You're good. You're good to put the headphones back on.
Are you going to spoil it?
I wasn't spoiling it. All I said was
you said spoiler alert.
They focus around Gene. Is that hard to? Oh my gosh!
Multiple episodes?
Yes.
I'm going to throw a brick at you.
Duncan, well, you know what? You could have bought the season and watched it. Even I'm going in that there was going to be episodes centered on Gene.
Whole episodes. I knew the finale at least.
Duncan, what did you think they were going to do? Set up the story they've been setting up for 5 years and then just put one episode at the end?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't. And this arc is fantastic. This whole season is fantastic. Are you actually upset with me? That was not.
No, I'm not actually upset.
My mom sent me a package in the mail and she was like, oh, we had some leftover candy from Halloween and we don't want it. So we threw it in there, but it was just a big bag of freaking Tootsie Rolls. Look at this. So.
Oh.
That's all I have to say.
You just wanted to show off the Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, like what am I? I'm gonna gain so much weight. But Duncan, take us away. What did you watch?
I watched Army of Thieves on Netflix
By Zacky Snidey, produced by Zacky Snidey,
by Frank's best friend
and
and
it
man
is
crush, Zachary Snyder.
it is directed by the guy Matithas,
Hmm.
who plays the army of the thief. I love this movie. What did you think?
I really I love the character, the main character. He carried the movie. He was so fun to follow. I see it, Frank. This isn't show and tell. You don't have to like make it visible on the camera. I loved it. I thought the main character was so easy to follow. The way he interacted with the story and digested the plot was really fun. It made me want more movies with characters like that.
I agree. I kind of like it where it really worked as a prequel, especially like setting up that character and his history. I like that there were definitely ties to the Army of the Dead, but it wasn't essential viewing.
Yes, agreed. I still stand by that Army of the Dead should never have existed.
Nope, you're wrong. Okay, moving on.
No, I'm not.
Why do
Because
you have to say this?
if this movie,
Because they should have hashtag restored the Snyderverse, and then he wouldn't have had to make a movie for Netflix, and he could have continued with his.
it was so hard to watch this movie and enjoy it, knowing what happens in that movie. They're so different that it's completely
Did
disjointed.
you like Army of the Dead, or are you tasteless?
I really loved what Army of the Dead was going for, but it's just so bogged down by unnecessary shit. Like decisions that Zach thought would be cool.
Don't
and
bring
they
Zach
aren't.
into this. He did nothing wrong, okay? That man, oh my gosh, I freaking love his filmography. I'm just obsessed.
I think you have tunnel vision
I don't
when it
think
comes to this movie.
I don't think so. But
Anyway, I do recommend Army of Thieves as a
Army of
heist
Thieves.
movie. It's very enjoyable. And after that, just turn the TV off. You don't have to watch any more of that franchise. Don't look further into what the character goes on to do. There's no need.
Well, you know what? You may not like what Zack Snyder did with Netflix, but you know what? Army of the Dead was one of Netflix's most successful movies of all time, right? They greenlit the spin-off before the movie came out, and they greenlit an animated series which hasn't come out yet, but it's coming out soon.
On who?
Based on Zach, because Zach is the best. And you know what, baby?
No,
You know
what's the animated series?
You know what's coming next year? His new movie from Netflix called Rebel Moon. But guess what, Duncan? They believe in this man so much that he filmed both of them back to back. They're actually filming it now. I was talking to someone the other day who was working on it, and they filmed both of those movies back to back. And I can't wait to be immersed. It's his Star Wars, and come on. Also, I am rewatching and like Thanksgiving. I cooked myself a little meal, and then I was so stuffed afterwards. I had to lie down in my bed, and they were airing the first two episodes of Andor on TV, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll rewatch this." I am rewatching that whole series now. It is so good. I got sucked right into it. It is such a better binge than it is week to week. Like it's exponentially better. It's so good.
I'm rewatching Andor right now with my parents in order to catch them up, and it's just getting to experience it again.
Did you watch the finale yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, Duncan. There's an end credit scene.
Okay.
And
is it Yoda,
so
but he's
simple.
red?
No.
Is it Yoda, but he's red and he's like evil and fucked up?
He talks normally.
Yeah, the whole Andor. Andor is just like a beautiful like departure, and then there's evil Yoda at the end.
Well, I will say the end credit scene feels fan service. Like it does feel. I was nervous where I was like, this. I wasn't nervous. She's saying I watched it and I loved it. And I thought that could have so easily been played for fan service, but it plays into the story and what's been set up so well that you can't even be mad about it.
Okay, cool. I'll
It's
make
very
sure to look out for
simple.
that.
It's very simple. And it's
Okay.
more thematic than it is like, oh, well, we put that in there. Ooh, ooh.
But it is a recognizable character.
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's
I'll
not
see.
some throwaway thing in Obi-Wan where he goes into the fortress Inquisitorius and Master Sinube is dead in there and they just threw him in there just to be there.
Who is Master Sinube?
You don't know Master Sinube? Well, you're not a real Star Wars.
Can you hear yourself right now? Don't even call yourself a fan if you don't know how many toes Master Sinube has.
He doesn't have toes, he has hooves.
Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
You're such a big fan, Duncan.
What? How? This is ridiculous. You go again.
I'll go again. Well, while we're talking about Star Wars,
Christ.
let me talk about, all right, Disney Plus. Let's just talk about it.
Okay.
I think this streaming service has quietly delivered some of the best behind the scenes content of any streaming service. There is a documentary I've talked about before on the podcast, a documentary series about the making of Frozen 2. And it definitely wasn't the intention when they started making it. And because it's Disney, they definitely tried to cut around the fact that that movie was like rushed and not made the best it could.
Yeah, like they're the villains.
Like they tried to cut around it, but like they really couldn't with the documentary. But I think it's just such an interesting documentary on the inside of the film industry. Like there's literally a scene in there where they're in a meeting with the executives and they're trying to like convince them to delay the film. And the line that the executive said is something to the point of, Disney Animation has never delayed a film once before, and Frozen 2 will not be the first one that we delay. It's really good. I highly recommend it. But
Wow.
water break. The one I'm recommending, everybody watch it. This is up there as like, this is essential viewing.
To who?
The documentary made by Lucasfilm called Light and Magic, which is the history of ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, which is the the visual effects company that George Lucas created for the first Star Wars. It's such a great documentary, and they start with Star Wars and bring it all up into the digital age with CGI. And what I really liked about this is that you get to know the people behind the company, so that way you kind of feel really you like them and you're rooting for them, and then you feel the stakes. And one of the most interesting parts about this documentary is when they talk about Jurassic, like there's a whole episode on Jurassic Park and how the guy who Phil Tippett, who I talked about a movie he made in the last episode called Mad God, how he basically somewhat was blindsided by CGI, and like he did all these stop motion tests for Jurassic Park, and then when they obviously decided to go with CGI, it kind of like ruined,
destroyed him.
It was kind of like the beginning of the end for his career.
Oh,
and so they kind of talked about that, and it's like it's so heartbreaking, but it's such a well done, and like he talks about how he was like suicidal and stuff, and it's a really like emotional, very good, well made docu series. And I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I appreciate any kind of behind the scenes work that really teaches people to appreciate the stuff that like maybe you don't think of when you initially
that's
watch
nice
a
that
movie.
you appreciate that, but however, you won't support it because you don't want to spend like $25 to watch the final season of Better Call Saul.
God damn it, Frank. I want to go 10 minutes without you bringing that show up. It's ridiculous.
Oh
I will watch it.
Liking that show has become my personality. What Duncan,
Hi.
how many things do you have left?
7.
Well, I say you take it away.
I can do that. I watched a bad Netflix movie
Tell me more.
for adults. It's called Purple Hearts.
Oh my gosh. Is this about the army?
It's about the goddamn USA Army. um so believe it or not, there's a guy who he goes to war.
Uh-huh.
And when he okay, so do you know what an army wife is?
Oh, is that why like all those military people I went to high school with are married by 17? Is that what that's about?
This movie is about a woman who does not believe in the military, who is very independent and like is a musician, has tattoos, not the army type. One could call her a liberal. Oh my god, you're impossible.
Continue.
And a guy shows up at her bar and he's about to be deployed. And so they like fight because she hates the military and he's anti-social justice warrior.
Hmm.
But they learn
You
that
should watch Andor.
they both learn that they have something to gain by like being married and having the insurance and the tax write-off. So they get married like as a bit, but then he like comes back from war and has to use a wheelchair and she falls in love with him.
Wait, why does he have to use a wheelchair?
He was in war.
Yeah, but what happened?
Shot.
Where?
I don't know. Or no, it was like a landmine or something. Something like inconspicuous.
Okay.
He's still a patriot. This is the point. Anyway, and then they have to like convince their dad that it was a marriage of love. I don't recommend this movie.
No, it does. You're not. I got to be honest. You were selling me on it.
But I don't want to anger the army wives because
No, I was joking before.
they marry young and they marry fast. Because the military kind of has
they have incentives.
There's like a pretty high mortality rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also watched All My Friends Hate Me. This is a British comedy, so it's very dry. Not all the jokes land, but it's about a group of friends that are like getting together like after a while, and one of them is just the odd guy out all of a sudden. Like he used to be like the popular guy in the friend group, but now they all seem to like hate him. Like they secretly have some kind of grudge against him. And the story is about him trying to figure out like what the hell happened, why they all hate him. And it's like it's weird, but it's actually a pretty good time and it's a fun mystery to unravel. It's like a murder mystery, but for social anxiety. So
okay,
that's that.
All righty. Wow. Do you think maybe we should take our little break
Let's
now?
take our little break.
Let's take our little break.
And when we come back after these messages, we'll have more movies.
I got 4 movies and we are gonna talk about them.
You know we will.
That's the point of this podcast. All righty.
It is. We're back.
We're back, baby.
It was a minute for you, but it was hours to us.
It was 3 days. I sat at my computer waiting, but the link never came until now.
Yeah, I got distracted.
But that's okay, because we got movies to talk about.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We should pivot the channel to be like a Watch Mojo, like top 20 movies we saw.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com. Here's our top 10 favorite fences in movies.
Top 10 times a guy said the fuck word. All right. You have 4 left. I have 4 left.
Oh my.
Like, who should go?
Okay. You know what? Duncan, have you ever been on an airplane?
Sure have.
Worst place to watch a movie. You can't hear the audio. Every 2 seconds it pauses and they go ding. This is my first time flying an airplane and we're probably gonna crash. Make sure you have your seatbelts fastened and the peanuts and water will be coming out shortly. Thank you. Doo-doo.
Yeah, I've lived that.
Yeah, it's not fun, but I had to ride an airplane and there was a movie that I missed in theaters that I was like, I kind of wanted to see that. So I watched the Michael Bay movie Ambulance.
Oh,
It's called Ambulance, but it takes place in LA. So the L and the A are capitalized in a different color in the
I
logo.
remember
So
you
I call
telling
it
me that. Yeah.
Ambulance.
So you watched Ambulance
And
on a
no, I watched
plane
Ambulance.
while going to LA.
Yes.
Tell me about the movie.
So in Ambulance, it's especially it's basically just a heist, and Jake Gyllenhaal's in it, and he's pretty angry. And the heist gets off the rails, and their escape vehicle is an ambulance, and they have to drive this ambulance around L.A. But everyone knows that they're in the ambulance, and there's someone dying and bleeding out inside the ambulance. So
Ironic.
they have to use all the supplies inside the ambulance. Oh, also there's a doctor or nurse lady or an EMT that was inside the ambulance that they had to steal. So she's in the ambulance, but she's not one of the ones being hunted, but she has to help the people in the ambulance who are bleeding out inside the ambulance.
What a review. I
Ambulance is a pretty fun movie. It's over the top. It's Michael Bay. I think he had just discovered what a drone was because I tell you, the drone shots in this movie are incredible, but Jesus, did we need 500 of them?
okay, so he got a brand new toy and like wanted to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Ambulance is just, it's a fun time.
All right. Well, I can't tell if you're recommending it or not.
Oh, I recommend it.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's one of those movies you put on at like 1 a.m. I really don't know what happened plot wise because I was next to the engine of the airplane, so it was really loud, and I didn't want to blow my eardrums out. But it was pretty intense. I enjoyed. I had a fun time in the ambulance.
Wow. It kind of sounds like you didn't watch the movie or like you
I
couldn't
did, but
retain
you
it.
know, was I paying attention? That's the real question. I was in
Gotcha.
an airplane. I did the best I could.
That's fair. Yeah. I watched Day Shift, which is
Tell me
the
about Day Shift. What is that about?
that is about Jamie Foxx hunting vampires.
Oh, the Netflix one.
The Netflix one in LA. All right. It's a little gratuitous, but like we're proud of you, buddy. That's a Tootsie Roll. um, this movie sucks so bad that I did not watch the
I hit
ending.
my caloric intake for the day.
I turned this off before the finale
Oh no.
because I was having such a bad time.
Is this the one with Ryan Reynolds and Chris Evans?
No, I don't think they were in it. This is with the little Franco, David,
Dave?
little David Franco. He pees his pants 3 times in the movie.
Yes. You're selling me. Alrighty. What? No.
The movie is so bland and unoriginal when it comes to vampires. Would you believe that Jamie Foxx is like half vampire? I don't remember if he is or not, but like the fact that like it could go either way. Anyway, so there's like a vampire agency that's hunting the vampires, and it's like, oh, secret
Okay.
society. And then there's a secret society of the vampires, and they're like, oh, we gotta get away with our nefarious plans. Um, it's like they made Twilight they made Twilight for frat boys. That's what this is. And it didn't work and
Okay.
it sucks.
Well, Duncan,
Yeah.
sometimes that's just how it goes.
It is, there's a lot of
I bet it's
potential
fine.
there.
I bet
I'm
it's
sure
just
they
a movie.
tried
I
their
bet it's
best.
totally dramatic.
All
A lot of
right.
people probably worked hard on that movie, and there you go with your anti-Mulan rhetoric, and now this.
Why don't you watch Day Shift and get back to me?
Why
That's your
don't you
homework,
watch
Frank.
Mulan?
Frank, you got to watch
Okay,
Day
you know what?
Shift.
I'll add it to the queue.
Yeah, good. No, bump it up the queue. Put it at the top
I
of your
will.
list.
I'll bump it up the queue. I'm gonna
Fine
end this
then,
podcast and watch it right now.
as you should.
I'm not gonna do that, but
I know.
I'll watch it. Um, I watched a Hulu original movie called Not Okay. Um,
Oh,
have you heard about
yes.
this movie
I watched
with
this. Say it.
Zoe?
Say it. Zoe
I'm not
what?
gonna say it.
Zoe what?
I can't pronounce it.
I know. But like I want to hear you. I need to know her last name, Frank. Say it.
Gooch? How do you
No.
pronounce it?
Uh
Deutsch?
I've heard it pronounced
Is
Zoe.
it Deutsch?
I've heard it pronounced Zoe Dutch.
Zoe Dutch.
Like look up an interview. I don't know.
I like her voice though. I do remember like I was like I could just listen to this woman talking all day. She's got a very nice voice. I actually really enjoyed this movie. It's pretty funny. It's basically about this woman who plans it's all about like social media and getting attention. That's what this whole movie's about. And this girl fakes a trip in Paris, but then there's like a terrorist attack in Paris with all this bombings and stuff. And so in
and
order
she
to get
has to keep it up.
she pretends that she was there and like affected by it. And it's very over the top. It gets out of hand really fast. But it's a pretty funny movie. I enjoyed it. It had a good message at the end. One of the funny things about this movie is I've never seen this before. You know how people like a few years ago, there was like this big movement with streaming services where there was an old movie and there was like depictions of like bad stuff, either like racially or violently, and it's like this hasn't aged well. They put the little description on beforehand, and I was
Right.
no issue with that. This one has one of those, but it just came out. But it was pretty funny because
Right.
it was like it's like warning for an unbelievable female lead character. I
Yeah,
just
they
thought that was
definitely had fun with it.
yeah. So I
They
mean
were
that's the
like,
vibe
this
of
person's not a
movie.
hero. There's no redemption arc. Like
Yeah.
they tell you up front like what you're getting into.
Yeah, and there is no when it hits. Did you say you watched this?
I did.
You did. What did you think?
I thought it was it's a little contrived in the sense that like the plot of like, uh-oh, now she's friends with an activist. Like it was a little coincidental, like a little too like Disney XD kind of a
I
thing.
didn't think so. Disney XD. Oh my gosh! Did you even watch that? Do you
No.
even know? You don't even know? Pair
I
of
watched
Kings? Does that
something
mean
on
nothing
there.
to you? Does Pair of Kings ring a bell? Did you ever watch Pair of Kings? That was a great show, Pair of Kings. Then that Mitchell Musso got a DUI, and there goes that show.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
There was a show on. Now I got to go into the history. There's a show on Disney XD called Pair of Kings. And Mitchell Musso, it's about these twin brothers, and they find out that their heritage is they basically are the rightful kings of this island. And in the first episode, there was a picture of them at birth, and it shows that they have like these matching tattoos or something on their foot. But then Mitchell Musso got a DUI, and they had to fire him off the show. And I remember tuning into the first episode of the ones where he wasn't in it anymore, and they had like this backlit silhouette of him writing the girl that he liked in the letter saying, I'm going to become a better man for you. I just have to leave the island. And they showed the silhouette leaving the island. And then they obviously, they're like, well, this show has always run with two protagonists. Now we don't have any. Now there's only one. So they took the picture from the first episode, and I remember they ripped it open to reveal there was a third, and it's like this poorly photoshopped picture that there was indeed a third sibling. So then they brought in the third sibling so there could be another, and the show just went off the rails from there.
That's tough. It's tough to kind of write around
That's
that
one of my
stuff.
favorite like TV trivia things that nobody cares about, but I love that I know.
Because you could just picture yourself in that writer's room where it's like, God damn it. Like, what are we gonna do?
I guess there's gonna be a third one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, how do we write in a third sibling with a birthmark to like pull this off? God. Anyway, do you recommend Not Okay or Pair of Kings
I forgot
more?
that's what we were talking about.
Which one did you like
I
more?
recommend it. I actually liked it. When did you watch this movie?
Recently. I think I watched this like a month ago.
All right. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty good. I watched Predators because I was excited about Prey.
Now, is Predators the one with Olivia Munn?
Yes.
Or is that The Predator?
No, that's The Predator. I watched Predators.
Why did you say yes? The answer was
because
no.
I thought for a split second that she was in the movie I watched.
Which one is Predators?
Predators it's about a group of people who wake up on an alien planet and something is hunting them one by one. Ooh. And it's the Predators. So the original Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger is like there's one predator that lands on Earth and like in a jungle. It's a commentary on like the Vietnamese like war, like and how all this machismo and weaponry like cannot beat something with like jungle like intellect and like something that like knows the terrain. It was a really smart commentary. Predators is like, what if we gave them all guns and put them on a planet where nothing matters and just make them fight? And it's such a 2008 action movie.
I love it.
It's just so weird. And I was trying to get ready for Prey because Prey looked like a breath of fresh air to the franchise. And I think Predators worked as kind of like a palate cleanser because it was so lazy and like anticlimactic and like it was so painful.
You weren't a fan.
Not the super biggest fan.
I don't think anyone was, from what I've heard.
I was rooting, I'll put it this way. I was rooting for the Predators. Like I was like, can you kill them faster, if anything?
Oh my gosh. So you're not a fan of Predators.
That is correct. And you can quote me on that.
Well, Duncan, speaking of Predators, I watched the movie Prey.
Okay, thank God. I was so nervous about what you were going to say. Oh.
I watched the Hulu original movie that could have probably gone to theaters and made a good $1 or $2. Prey. And it was really good.
I loved this movie. Like
I thought it was really good. Yeah.
This legitimately is probably in my top 5 of the year.
The scene with the bear. That was cinema.
Hey, can you animate a bear?
What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the CGI, about how bad the bear was.
Oh, I thought it was fine.
One of the main complaints people have about this movie are the CGI, and I thought they were really good, but like despite the bear,
fight, like with the predator, and they're all in the forest, like, and the whole, all the tribes and all the white men are going after it. Like, I thought it was so well done, and it's just, it really puts you like boots on the ground, and it's just such a fun, immersive, and I hope this is the standard for the, like, I'm like, go back in time to like the medieval era and put a predator in there. Like, they just make that the franchise.
They have a golden formula because they proved with this one that it works, right? Like,
it would feel different every time.
To be
even though
on
you're
that power
scale.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you don't even have to let like the Predator lose every time. But if you make a franchise of like Predators in different time periods, it's always an interesting like lens to say like, how do humans bond if you put like a super like overpowered monster nearby, and like you got bow
Yeah.
and arrows, but it's got like a laser cannon in its head and its helmet, and it's like I think there's a lot of potential for both cheesy action that you can turn your brain off and like interesting plot driven decision making. Like I loved Prey. I really did.
Praise
Thank
good.
you.
Watch it on Hulu.
It's on
How many
Hulu.
how many do you have left,
I
Duncan?
have one left.
Ooh. Who should close it out?
You should. I'll go again.
All right.
I watched Coherence.
Well, before we talk about coherence, to the people listening, if you're enjoying what you're listening to so far, why not? You know, I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to assume anything. Alrighty. I don't want to impede and step over my boundary, but like what what if you hit the subscribe button? You know? You know?
What do you mean
Feel
enjoying it
feel a
so
little crazy.
far? It's
Feel a
the
little
end of the
crazy.
episode.
You know? Like maybe like like the video, the podcast.
It would have been easier if you just said it. I
You
don't
know?
know why you're like,
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know, Duncan. Maybe we're feeling frisky today. We want to comment. Tell us what you watched.
that's
It's fun.
terrifying to see you doing that for the record. Like, I've never seen your face contort that way.
This episode was brought to you by Tootsie Roll. No,
It wasn't. You
I
can't say that.
um yeah, just please support the podcast, like it, subscribe to it,
Please.
hit the
Please,
bell,
God damn it. Please
please
support it.
comment, please, please.
There you go. You either
You
have to
like that
like
better, Duncan?
demand
You like
it.
it when I beg? Is that more entertaining? Do you think that's more likely to get him to hit it?
I think every episode you should switch between demanding it and begging for it.
I'll write never mind. Duncan, what did you watch?
I watched Coherence. This is an older movie. It is shot almost completely handheld, and it looks like a student film.
Who directed it? Why did you want to watch this? I'm so intrigued to know.
It was my dad's movie pick. I don't know who directed it. And in fact, when he like told us what it was, I looked it up and immediately went like, "Oh God damn it! Like this, I'm gonna have a shitty time."
What is your dad's taste in movies? Because isn't he the one that made you watch Belfast and you did not like that?
Yes, he likes. I think his favorite movie is. Have you seen Contact with Jodie Foster?
No. Okay, it's a 2013 movie, Coherence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, this is like super indie.
Let me talk a bit about it. Coherence is very trippy and it's very smart. And I think if it had given a huge budget, it would have been ruined. I think this movie needed to have a very small budget. It needed to be very limited in what it could feasibly do because the story is very intimate. The idea is that it's this group of friends having a dinner party and there's a
Oh, he
comet.
directed Rango.
What was that?
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. He directed the video game for the movie Rango. Never mind.
Oh my God, man. Just putting him on blast like that, just saying he made the video.
No, I'm not saying that's bad. Hey, James Ward Beercat. We love ya. Come on the podcast. Let's talk coherence. Duncan loved it.
I did. The idea is that this comet affects the house they're in, and when they leave the house, they see like I almost don't even want to spoil it because it's very creepy.
Mhm.
And it's the idea of like there is
I'm still
someone.
listening.
It's the idea that like there's someone out there and if you're not hunting them, they're hunting you.
Oh shit.
And it's like they're people very similar to you, but like at the end of the day, like, are you going to prioritize your own survival? And it touches into parallel universes, it touches into like space, cosmic kind of storytelling, and it's all shot handheld and like
Oh, I
in
like that.
piss
I like
poor
that.
lighting. And so
It's
you feel
good.
like you're right there. Yeah, it's very good.
Okay.
I genuinely recommend Coherence.
Okay.
And that's it.
Well, Duncan, we got one more, and
Close us out, Frank.
it's a classic. It's one of my all-time favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about it in the past before, but not really in depth.
Okay.
And I got to see a re-release in theaters of my all-time favorite movie, E.T.
All right,
Duncan,
let's open this
have you seen
bag.
E.T.?
I have seen E.T.
I've seen E.T. well over 100 times, probably. And let me tell you, getting to watch that movie in a theater for the first time was one of the most magical experiences I've ever had in my life.
Oh,
Um, when the music played and the score swelled and like the visuals were happening, I was taken over. I was transfixed by the silver screen, and I got to tell you something about watching this movie in theaters. It was like getting to watch the movie for the first time all over again.
really?
I couldn't have been happier. I had a
You
big.
felt like you were right back there in the 1960s?
What are you talking about?
When did this come out?
1980s, Duncan.
Whoops.
You knew what you were doing, okay? You knew what you were doing. Why you gotta be like that?
I didn't know when it came out.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
I don't know time periods.
Um, this movie is magical. If you is there like let me know in the comments if you've never seen this movie so I can bully you into watching it because it is so good. And at this point, I'm doing you a favor. Okay, that wasn't malicious. You want to say something,
Don't
Duncan?
threaten our audience,
I'm
first
not
of all.
threatening them. I'm
Don't threaten the
promising them.
kids. Don't threaten the kids.
No, I would never threaten the kids. I love them, and this this is just a great movie. I don't know what can I say about ET that has not been said. It's so good. You would agree it's the best movie ever made.
I think this is a darling movie. I think it's really, really good. And there's little to no problems with it.
There's no problems with it. It's perfect. What's wrong with it, Duncan? Name one. Name one thing. Oh, he's thinking now.
Why didn't they pick him up sooner?
What do you mean?
Why didn't they pick him up sooner?
Duncan, that's not a real complaint.
Like his friends leave him like over nothing. It's like, why did he want to go home so bad?
Duncan, they made a mistake. Oh, is Home Alone a bad movie because the parents left Macaulay Culkin home by
How
himself?
far could they have gotten before they were like, oh, hey, one of our crew is missing? By the way, what was his job?
Whose?
E.T.
What do you mean? What was his job?
What did he do on the spaceship?
They were harvesting plants from all around the different planets and bring them onto the ship. Did you not watch the
Why?
movie?
No, why?
Not
I want to
understand
know
visual
why they were
storytelling?
doing that.
The literally opening of that movie showing you the inside of the ship and all the plants, and then it cuts to all the aliens literally taking plants and bringing them onto the ship.
The implications of
Why do
what
you
they're
think the
doing
flower
with
pot is
our
such a big
plants.
deal? Why do you think the flower pot is such a big deal, Duncan?
I'm just saying they left him pretty quick, and I don't know why he was so excited to leave his new friends.
He didn't. He wanted his new friends to stay. He said he literally tells Elliot, "Come with me," and Elliot's like, "Why can't you stay?" That's the whole point of the movie. They're from two different worlds. They can never be together, Duncan. But that's the beautiful. Maybe something's not beautiful because a thing is beautiful because it ends, Duncan.
I think he's up to
This
something.
podcast right now.
I think
Thank you
ET
all.
is up to something. I don't trust him.
Why don't you trust DT?
What if he was a soldier?
What does that have to do with anything?
What if he's killed?
What are you talking about, Duncan?
What if E.T. was a warrior in his
he harvests plants? I do wonder, do you think that the ETs had a defense mechanism in case someone attacked them?
I want to know if they have like a judicial court system. Like what's their laws like?
They are. If you watch the Phantom Menace, the aliens in ET can be seen in the background, so it's technically canonical, and they are part of the Star Wars universe.
Then what side are they on?
Well, they. I mean, I don't think you can say a race of something is on a certain side of something. I think every individual has their own belief system.
But now we know that E.T. could have a political belief.
Yeah, he could. I mean, they were seen in the Senate in the Phantom
Where
Menace.
was E.T. during January 6th, Frank?
No!
Sorry, that's not funny. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I'm gonna Photoshop him in there now. I'm gonna Photoshop
no.
E.T.
Oh god.
Okay, so like I don't know. He's a little dumpling, and like you're supposed to project onto him, but it's like that's a being. I think they infantilized E.T. in this movie.
What do you mean I don't even know what that means.
They made him a baby.
How the heck did they infantilize him?
Because he's like, oh, and like talking to like the stuffed animals.
He doesn't speak the language, and he's trying to find a common way to communicate to children.
I think he's up to something.
Like
what?
He
doesn't have a language, but he's in the Senate.
Duncan, he has a language, but he doesn't speak English.
Something shady's going on there, man.
I don't think so. I can't believe you. You've ruined.
Great movie. I love it, but like, come on.
Truly
a classic from your neighbor, Steven Steelbook.
Steelbook. Speaking of Steelbooks and ET.
Oh, yeah, I should have seen what I was doing there.
I have the ET Steelbook. Look at that. Made out of metal.
Look at that war criminal on the cover.
When I have people come over, I can say, look I own ET on a oh look, I have my ticket in here too from when I saw the re-release.
Aw.
And I can say, I keep my small optical discs in this metal case because I'm a real man. Try finding a man like that.
Thank you for listening to the Mr. Movies podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. Like the video if you enjoyed any of this.
And go to tootsieroll.com/Mr. Movies podcast to also receive this big bag of Tootsie Rolls. Just kidding. Don't do that, and don't sue us for saying so.
Don't tell Tootsie Rolls that we're making these promises.
Tootsie.
Don't tell Tootsie. What, Big Tootsie's listening?
Big Tootsie's listening.
All right.
And she'll roll us over. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye, everybody.